In the cabin, it's clear to some of the passengers that something is terribly wrong.
The turbines weren't really moving as quickly as what you would normally expect, and there was an eerie silence except for a knocking sound. It's like tennis shoes rolling around in a dryer.
Okay, that was a bird strike. Now the power is beginning to roll back, indicating that we do have a loss of power on both engines.
Former Airbus pilot Jay Joseph is flying a flight simulator, which is an exact copy of the Airbus A320 cockpit interior. It is programmed to simulate a jet's second-by-second response to a double-engine failure at 3,200 feet. Every flashing light and instrument display is what the pilots would have seen and heard when disaster struck Flight 1549.
Now the co-pilot is executing the dual-engine failure checklist at this time, attempting to get a relight on perhaps one or both engines. Okay, he's continuing with the quick engine start checklist at this point.
While Captain Sullenberger flies the plane, the co-pilot works through the procedure in the Airbus manual in a bid to restart at least one engine.
The point that the aircraft lost thrust on both engines, it was essentially a glider, a 140,000-pound glider.
Air traffic control clears a runway for Flight 1549 at LaGuardia, 7 miles away.
Hi, Cactus 15.9. It's going to be left traffic to runway 31.
Unable.
Cactus 15.9. Runway 4 is available if you want to make left traffic to runway 4.
I'm not sure we make any runway. What's over to our right? Anything in New Jersey, maybe Teterboro?
Okay, yeah, off your right side is Teterboro Airport. Do you want to try to go to Teterboro?
Yes.
Ahead of him is Teterboro in New Jersey, but even that is 6 miles away. He might make it, but if he fails, it spells catastrophe, not just for those on board, but also people on the ground. As a professional pilot, Captain Sullenberger is trained to be calm in any situation. But in a later interview, his inner turmoil becomes apparent.
It was the worst, sickening, pit of your stomach falling through the floor feeling I've ever felt in my life. The physiological reaction I had to this was strong, and I had to force myself to use my training and force calm on the situation.
Flight 1549 will hit the ground in less than 2 minutes. Captain Sullenberger decides. LaGuardia is too far. Teterboro is too far. As he looks ahead, he can see one final option.
Cactus 1529, turn right 280, you can land runway 1 at Teterboro.
We can't do it.
Okay, which runway would you like at Teterboro?
We're going to be in the Hudson.
I'm sorry, say again, Cactus?
As this radar image shows, other passenger airliners are in the area. Eagle Flight 4718 is listening in and responds.
I think he said he was going in the Hudson.
In an interview later, Captain Sullenberger describes his decision with extraordinary calmness.
The only viable alternative, the only level, smooth place sufficiently large to land an airliner was the river.
This has the potential to be catastrophic. To set himself up for an unplanned water landing is unprecedented. Nobody would have been thinking about that.
Forced landings on water usually end in disaster. In 1996, an Ethiopian Airlines Boeing 767 cartwheeled on landing after ditching in the Indian Ocean at the end of a bungled hijack attempt. 125 of the 175 people on board died. In New York, people are becoming aware of the jet's rapid descent.
124, where's the emergency? Plane went down in New Jersey.
Operator 219.
Yeah, I'm witnessing the airplane is going down. It's on fire on the left lane.
Where?
I'm in the Bronx. Oh, my God.
Was it a large or small plane or what?
A big jet. And I'm telling you, this plane was way too low. The jet was so fucking low.
The captain has had no time to tell the passengers what he is attempting, but they know they are going down.
I remember the gentleman sitting in 1A grabbing my arm and saying, "We're going to die, aren't we? We're going to die."
I'm thinking to myself, this cannot be happening. This cannot be real. This, you know, it was like a bad dream.
Ditching in the Hudson is Flight 1549's last chance. But standing in the way is a 600-foot-high obstacle.
I believe Captain Sullenberger had a number of significant obstacles, not the least of which was the George Washington Bridge. He had no options. That's what he had to work with.
Terrain ahead. Pull up. Terrain ahead. Pull up. Terrain ahead. Pull up. Terrain ahead. Pull up.
Real-time radar mapping shows the jet approaching the bridge's eastern end at a height of 1,500 feet.
Pull up. Terrain ahead. Pull up.
He clears it, with just a few hundred feet to spare.
The George Washington Bridge was not something that he had planned for on that approach, I can assure you of that.
Emergency electrical power manual on.
Whether or not he factored in the bridge, Captain Sullenberger navigates around it with extraordinary skill and makes a turn to line up over the Hudson. Below 500 feet, air traffic control may lose contact with the plane, but they need to know where it will come down. They divert a helicopter, which was taking tourists on a sightseeing tour, to track the jet's movements.
Okay, listen, we're going to tell you something important. It's Cactus 1549. We see somebody low level in the Hudson River.
The young lady sitting next to me said, "We're going to crash, aren't we?" I said, "Yeah, I think we're going to."
I remember looking at the skyline of New York City and just, you know, looking at it, and I knew we were below the buildings.
Man, we could hit a building. I don't want to hit a building because it's going to be like 9/11 again.
Tango Alpha, it looks like there's maybe an incident here.
Terrain ahead. Pull up. Terrain ahead. Pull up.
We've got a target on him, but he looks like he's low level. Okay. Okay?
All right.
500 feet from impact, Captain Sullenberger makes the announcement no air passenger wants to hear.
The pilot came on and he said, "This is the captain speaking, brace for impact."